Hello, thanks for taking a second to join me. In today's video, we're going to talk about application of a special limit of liability. Now, this especially comes into place when we're talking about tree removal, as this is going to be on a large amount of the losses that we're seeing for the hurricane. So first is to identify how much insurance is available for debris removal and how it applies. So using the coverage guide, you can see on a safe harbor, HO3 policy, or the mobile home policies, many of them have a $500 limit. 5% of the dwelling is the max of coverage, but really it's limited by $500 for tree debris removal, regardless of the number of trees. Now remember, this limit only applies if there's actual damage caused by the tree to covered property. So let's just assume that we have a tree on a house and we're going to apply that limit and put it into the estimate. So in order to show this properly, you need to give the insured the full benefit of the amount of damage, because any overage or any difference is going to be absorbed in the policy deductible. If you just put a flat $500 limit, then the deductible is going to apply to that limit, and you'll reduce the insured's coverage by that amount or even more depending on the amount of the loss. So let me show you how to do that. So we're going to go into the estimate, under the claim info, under coverage loss. So under the dwelling portion of the coverage, you'll go to edit options, and you're going to add a sublimit. Now, I've already added this to my smart list, but if you don't, you can add it to the smart list here, and you can add tree removal. I'm going to say that this is an aggregate limit of $500, and hit OK. Now, when I go back into the estimate items, there's really two actions that have to take place. One is that workers need to remove the damaged tree from the dwelling or from the fence or from the driveway, so remove it from covered property. And then the second is they need to haul that debris away from the area to clean it up. Now, this limit doesn't apply for actually removing the tree from the roof or the fence or the driveway. There's not a limit for that. We're going to estimate what we expect that to be using our best judgment or information feedback from the tree contractor themselves. The second thing that's going to happen, again, is that we need to take that debris off of the property. Now, taking it away from the property, once it becomes debris, that's subject to this special limit of liability, which, again, the grid just told us is $500, and we added that into the coverage loss portion of the estimate. So I'm going to break this down. So the first one I'll say is the demolition from the tree. This is per hour, including equipment, to remove the tree from the roof. Now this is part of the dwelling coverage, so I'll leave this as dwelling. And remember, there's not a limit for this. So I have 4 workers at 8 hours for a total of 32 total hours. You can see the price amount there. You make sure to add an item to describe what exactly the description is, so the client reading your estimate will understand that a portion of it is to remove it from the building, another portion is to remove the debris from the property. Now we're going to add the actual debris removal. So we're going to use a similar approach here using debris removal labor, and we're going to say this is going to be 2 workers at 8 hours for 3 days. Now, instead of putting this under the actual dwelling coverage, we're going to put this under the newly created tree removal sublimit, and hit OK and OK. What you're going to find that does when you go to the grand total is what you're going to see that happens is the estimate is affected in a couple ways. So you see here there's a sublimit recap. So this shows that tree removal is subject to the $500 aggregate limit, and that the damage is actually more than that limit, so there's an overage. It also, what it does is it applies the deductible to the loss, and then it reduces the amount over the limit. What you're going to do there then is give the insured the full benefit of their coverage. If you were to add just a $500 line item here, a bid item for debris removal, you won't give the insured the full benefit because the deductible will apply to the $500, and then it'll also apply to the main part of the loss. So you effectively reduce the amount of coverage the insured is afforded under this type of special limit. So that's all you're going to have to do. So remember, you're going to have to add the coverage if it's not already there as a sublimit of dwelling. And then when you add the line items for debris removal, you'll make sure that you change them so they are also in that same sublimit on the coverage type. And then your estimates will be accurate every time. Thanks for joining me. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out.